Of course it's a conspiracy, but we can't wake up enough of our brotherhood, Americans, to do anything about it. They're happy with their uh, sweet flavored beer and their video games and going out to eat a good meal. I mean, nothing wrong with these things, but while other countries are being invaded and people are being killed, maybe on a lie, it is should probably spark a little bit of somebody's curiosity as to whether it's all But part of the problem, if it's legitimate. But a part of the problem, obviously, is we don't have a lot of time. We work, we raise our kids, and we're playing football and teaching football and playing video games, and the news media we depend on. They're part of the government, the press. But if you look at this closely, they're part of the problem. They conceal things. They manipulate the truth. I think we've seen from this tape or that cut or this cut, we've seen that they go out of their way to cover up the truth. I'm sure it's pointed out to you. So I'm ready to kick some ass, but it just makes me sad.
Engineers don't contemplate a fuel load. Please, this is the biggest fiction that history has ever seen, and your children and you are in danger because the ruthless people that perpetrated this may perpetrate bigger things. They're telling us now it's just a matter of time before a nuke goes off in a city.
Well, I wonder if those of you that are watching that screen understand what it means. Most of you are probably from another country, and I love you, and I'm going to tell you what it means, because it's kind of like moving to the right side of the road and slowing down when an emergency vehicle comes by that you people don't understand. This, when the American flag is upside down, means American in distress. This is a sign. This is not a sign of disrespect, because I, more than anyone, love my United States military. I followed it when I was in junior high. I read the SALT talks because it was so interesting to me. I built models. I respect my military more than any, and know more about it than most average Americans. And that's why I'm doing this, because America is in distress, and we need to do something about it. And I'm hoping that this will shock you to listen. It's all about shock and awe. I'm trying to use the same tool that our own intelligence community uses. It's shock and awe. So, America in distress.
And one of the generals from Iraq was questioned about this. What do you think about it? And he even stated, ladies and gentlemen, grab your seats. He stated he could not see the Constitution surviving such an event. Is this man not, isn't his job in the United States military, doesn't it start, I'm not sure, doesn't it start, come on, somebody clarify, doesn't it start with an oath to protect the Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic? Why do we have a corporate scum general who is willing to state that the Constitution may not survive an event? The man needs to be fired. Hello? Where are the American people's brains? I'll tell you where they're at. They're up the news media's tail. And when they shake, you jiggle. You people need to look at the facts. You need to look at what we will show you that are coming right off the analog tapes, the 9/11 Newsday, which scream conspiracy. They scream American involvement.
We don't matter. We don't matter anyway. They do what they want. We're just pawns. We're pawns. We can't do anything about it. We're just pawns. Why do you want to try to do anything about it?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's just think about some basic things. You go look at the timeline. This was such an American operation. It was just like your work day. Let me explain. In the 8 o'clock hour, the airplanes, 4 of them, were hijacked in a 48-minute period of time. They all took off and departed and were hijacked and then taken without anybody hitting an emergency SOS signal.
No, let me get this straight. What?
And then navigated to their targets. And they did it with military precision. First 2 planes departed within 15 minutes of each other, and they struck the buildings within 15 minutes of each other, kind of like a cruise missile attack. The precision was crazy. But let's look at the operation. In the 8 o'clock hour, the planes depart and are hijacked. In the 9 o'clock hour, the planes hit their targets. In the 10 o'clock hour, the buildings start to collapse. The 11 o'clock hour, all the wonder and speculation is gone because the airlines reveal that 4 planes have been taken. By 12 o'clock, it's all over, and the doublespeak begins.
Right, whatever.
The doublespeak. Do you know what I mean by doublespeak, ladies and gentlemen? Go watch the first news day. Watch as the news media will come on and bring expert number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and tell you, there's no way of knowing who did this, where it's impossible to know, it's impossible to understand who could do this, who's behind it, nobody's taken, but you know what? It was Osama bin Laden. And oh, by the way, this is how it worked. He used these planes filled with fuel, and these buildings collapsed. All right. In this storyline, ladies and gentlemen, the planes hit. They sat for 50 minutes at the shortest time, and then they collapsed. And during that collapse, it was supposed to be a fire that melted the steel, and it simply collapsed upon itself. But you know what? It's exploding. It's exploding and exploding. And we're going to show you where it's exploding. And you know what? There's no room for explosions in the official storyline of what occurred. Because explosions means somebody was there prior, setting them in the building. And they had to have the keys, which would mean they would be involved. So, we have to make it appear to be from collisions of aircraft and their fuel burning and melting, and it finally collapsing.
Judy, thank you. Jim DeStefano is a structural engineer. He knows about big buildings and what happens in these sort of catastrophic moments. He joins us from Deerfield, Connecticut on the phone. Jim, the plane hits. And I hope this isn't a terribly oversimplified question, but what happens to the building itself?
Well, it's
the structure.
It's a tremendous impact that's applied to the building when a collision like this occurs. And it's clear that that impact was sufficient to do damage to the columns and the bracing system supporting the building. That, coupled with the fire raging and the high temperatures softening the structural steel, then precipitated a destabilization of the columns, and clearly the columns buckled at the lower floors, causing the building to collapse.
So it is a combination of, as we see again this extraordinary shot of the second plane hitting the tower, it is a combination of the impact of the plane itself and then the fire that ensues that causes these, I don't know, are they called beams, to buckle?
It's the columns. The vertical elements are columns, and those are the elements that are holding the whole building up. And those are the critical, vulnerable elements that clearly failed in a buckling mode from the high temperatures and the damage from the impact.
Now, I'm not asking you to assign any blame to anyone about anything here, but just give me an idea if, in fact, you can design these buildings in such a way so that this sort of thing does not happen even in a catastrophic event?
Well, it's very difficult when you're